So I watched the Jacob Blake interview.
Yes,
did you watch it?
I did.
How do you feel about it?
Okay.
Honestly, like, I'm going to say what Taraji P. Henson would be saying. You're in a safe place.
Okay, this is my thing, bro, is that, again, I've held this opinion from the beginning. He shouldn't have been shot 7 times.
Facts.
And I based that upon Kenosha's use of force policy. We talked about that on the last podcast. How he attempted to apprehend that Jacob Blake.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't coincide with Kenosha's use of force policy.
So what you're saying is
he should be fired. The officer should be fired. He shouldn't have shot him in the first place. That's what I'm saying. That's the only point. And sis, let me say this, because I know as Black people, when we see somebody our people get shot by the police again and again and again, of course we're going to be emotional. Of course.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, when we make our points, when we have an argument,
mm-hmm.
it can't be 100% based on emotion, because somebody gonna jam you up. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the district attorney in Kenosha, Michael Gravely, of course I wanted the officer charged, but legally I understand they couldn't charge him.
Right.
And it hurts me to say,
mm-hmm.
but of course, Gravely said it. He said that officer could claim self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we talked about it. The police have a broad, I'm telling you, they can use that in any instance, but it's the reality right now. So that's another conversation, trying to, get some reforms, qualified immunity, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
But as it pertains to Jacob Blake, this situation, again, that officer should be fired because he went against the use of force policy. Kenosha should revisit their standards and their practices, the police department. But in regards to the interview, I think that I was
mm-hmm.
like, the word dissatisfied comes to my mind for some reason. And I'm not sure if that's completely accurate.
Dissatisfied how?
Because the thing is that if we are going to use an event as a movement, whatever, Black people, if we're going to use an event to push for some change, this ain't that event. Unfortunately, it's not that event. Again, he should not have been shot. He should not have been shot. That officer should be fired. I do understand why that DA didn't pursue a legal case, because with the broad laws that the police are able to invoke, there was no case. That is a travesty. It's unfortunate.
7 times though, that's excessive.
Yeah.
He should have been charged with like excessive use of force.
Something. I feel you on that. I
mean, like excessive
type
to
shit.
The first degree
type shit. Because the thing is going back to the video, why'd you even let him walk that far to the car? You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have tackled him before that or something like that. He shouldn't have made it to the car. You know what I mean? But to the point of the interview and to the point of the case, and let's be honest, when it first happened, the news outlets, that's why I always harp on accuracy. I try to be as accurate as possible. And when I say something where I don't have the numbers in front of me, I'm going to say, I don't know for sure, but woo. Because when you're not accurate, this is what happens. When he first got shot, all the articles were saying, unarmed Black man, unarmed Black man.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It shouldn't have said that.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because now public opinion goes this way, and then when the truth is revealed, and again, he had a knife.
Yep.
I'm going to keep reiterating, he shouldn't have been shot at all, let alone 7 times. But when the outlets say it's unarmed and we go with the thinking that it's unarmed, and then he ends up being armed,
it
fucks up the momentum.
Exactly.
It fucks up the momentum.
Exactly.
I do agree. The lawyer, Benjamin Crump, he said it's like black people have to be perfect to avoid being shot. Yeah. I do agree with that. If it was a white person, I don't think the same thing would have happened.
Mm-mm.
But the point I'm making is that this isn't the case for us to like galvanize around and use as an example to show these politicians or whatever like that why change happens. Because, and again, I say this carefully, it's unfortunate. I feel for Jacob Blake. That shit shouldn't have happened, but it's so many holes in the story
that were revealed within this interview,
that when we having this conversation, when we trying to push for this legislation, then politicians gonna be like, well, he did have this, well, he did woo,
exactly
woo. So we can't build our case around this.
Exactly. And then you talking to I don't know if I'm then you're talking to white people who feel like a push is excessive force. You know what I'm saying? Whereas in how we communicate and how we feel like we're trying to avoid a situation would come off aggressive. You get what I'm saying? So that you got these legislators and these senators, whoever that voice their opinion on it, that have different ways of how we grew up. It's different. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and I don't remember who I was talking to, but how I feel politics would benefit everybody is if they took it within, and it's sad to say, into a race thing. You know what I'm saying? Because government can be like, okay, this is what these people need. This is what these people need. This is to all be successful. You know what I'm saying? For my white people to be successful, this is what they need. For my black people to be successful, this is what they need. Indians, Chinese, you know what I'm saying? And so on and so forth. That way it can be fair. It's not like one's getting more than the other. We all want to be, what do we need as a culture? Because it's different. I don't need the same thing white people need. White people don't need the same thing I need. And if we thought about that as a government standpoint, like within politics.
And especially like policing.
Especially like with policing. You know what I'm saying? I think that it'll be different. That's why I always agree whenever you say like police need to police in the area that they live in and not like being out there, because it's different living in Mequon than it is living in Milwaukee. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
If as a government standpoint we can get that through our heads and not think of it as a tax bracket, I guess you would say. I think it would be more beneficial.
Man, I feel you on that. And that's the thing, is that like ideas like that, while they're of course they're idealistic, but they're idealistic for a reason. You try to find a practical application for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I really would want to give that some thought, you know, because I mean, again, if this was a white person, a white officer dealing with a white person, chances are it goes different.
It would have been different. So now let's put it into perspective. Jacob Blake was being policed by somebody who grew up like him, talk like him, walk like him, all that. The only difference was he was a police officer. He went through a little bit extra steps to get the job that he has. Don't you think you communicate better with somebody who you can relate more to than as to somebody that you can't?
Type shit.
You get what I'm saying? So that's what I mean when I'm saying like you handle different people differently. And it necessarily doesn't have to be a race thing. It could just be a personality thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel you, sis. I feel you. I'm thinking about this situation a lot right now because it's like, again, and you know, Jacob Blake's his child's mother, she did call the cops on him. And so when the officers came, they were aware that he had a warrant out for his arrest for trespassing, disorderly conduct, and third-degree sexual assault. So the police were required by law to take Blake into custody. Okay.
Because he had the warrant?
Because he had the warrant.
Oh, okay.
Now, understood. My only objection is him being shot 7 times. You feel me? And I guess I'm just wrecking my brain trying to understand, like, is there a way for that not to happen, even if there is a white officer? Because I feel your point. Of course, it's idealistic. We don't know how that could be practically applied where, okay, I call the police right now.
Right.
And I'm dealing with a black person.
Right.
Hey, send a black officer. You know what I'm saying?
That's not what I'm saying. Like somebody, police in the areas that you grew up in. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So even like it doesn't have to be a race thing. It could be a white dude that can communicate with
Type
you, that
shit,
you can relate to,
shit,
Chinese and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that you can't have somebody that grew up thinking that a single push was excessive force.
Type shit.
When you have over here saying, this is just how we communicate as a community together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel you for sure. And I think that we got to hold Kenosha Police Department feet to the fire because, again, according to their use of force policy, this officer, Sheekley, whatever his name
was
is,
out of line.
It wasn't what he was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want your officers to uphold these standards, he need to be fired. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think police should have the mindset to kill. You understand what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like, I think you said it last week. You know what I'm saying? De-escalation.
Mm-hmm.
There's departments that don't require the officers to de-escalate anything.
Right.
That should be a requirement federally, like nationwide. Right. We should require de-escalation.
Before any excessive force of anything. You can get by so much with just talking to somebody. You can understand a person. And just soon before we started podcasting, we just talking better than it is. Where was I going with that?
With texting and shit.
Yeah. So like you have a better communication when you just talk to somebody instead of being like, if I came at you like, hey Zach.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll come at you with my hand on
you
my gun.
What I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna
different.
be tense.
Exactly.
Either way.
Exactly. And you can't get through to somebody when they tense.
You can't. Because now I'm tense and now I don't give a fuck what you're talking about.
It's fight or flight mode.
What's up?
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's and then both people are in that mode. The officer arrives to the scene, fight or flight.
Facts. And now you just got me there. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And you just got me there.
Exactly. Yeah, bro. The
interview didn't do no justice though. On some real I see they wanted to make sure everything was out and everybody had the facts. I think that was great that we had the facts. But we got a lot of momentum going right now and that kind of
if I was Jacob Blake's lawyer or family member, I'll say, no, let's not do that.
Let's not do that.
You know what I'm saying? And if me personally as a aspiring journalist, if I had a chance to sit down with him, and no, nothing against Michael Strahan, but I think it's a different way that you can approach that interview.
Hey, but think about it like this. All right, let's go back a couple episodes. You know, in certain interviews, you can say, I'm not talking about this. Don't ask me this kind of question, and I will not answer this.
Yeah.
So as an interviewer, you only can ask a selective questions. Mm-hmm. And who knows if those questions were assigned to him for him to ask.
Yeah.
So you really can't be up close and personal. Have you ever watched 60 Minutes or 2020 where they do the interview and it's on some no holds bar ass interview. People are telling you the truth. No, and that's why I always believe in conspiracy theories. Because motherfuckers is playing games, bro. But anyways, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
they could have left that.
You gonna find any conversation. You gonna find an entryway for conspiracy theories.
Man, I'm just because it makes sense.
I get what you're saying.
It just makes sense. Yeah. If you follow all of them, if you just go into conspiracy theories, they got a great documentary on Netflix. Watch that shit.
I hear you. Though.
I'm telling you.
I hear you, sis. I do.
Anyways. Hey, I'm glad he's doing good, though. I'm glad. I mean, being paralyzed sucks, but I'm glad you're alive so that, you can still be with your kids. That's a blessing in itself.
Yeah. And he shouldn't have been shot.
And he shouldn't have been shot. And I'm glad that you're here to be able to tell your story the way that you want to tell it. Because a lot of people aren't here to tell their story the way that they wanted to tell it.